Will you enjoy going to grad school? I'm going to share with you what I think about this right now. Hey everybody, so there's a question that I've noticed that's trending lately. A lot of people are asking, if I go to grad school, will I like it? And obviously, right, different programs, different experiences, right, different career goals, right? There's a number of things that can play into this, but I think there are some larger universal experiences that can transcend programs, backgrounds, etc. And I want to get into some of those with you right now, okay? Because you're probably wondering, hey, I'm thinking about going to grad school. I've got some interest in career goals that really make it seem like a good idea. I can see the purpose for it, but am I going to like it? So here's the thing. Yes and no, right? It's not a concrete yes, it's not a concrete no in the moment, all right? So if you're in grad school for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, I think when you're done, you can look at the experience and collectively say, yes, I liked it, or no, I didn't, okay? But as you're going through that program, you're going to move back and forth between, yes, this is great, this was a fabulous decision, to no, this was a terrible decision. What have I done with my life? Okay. So once I got into it, like maybe, by October of my first year, I hated it. Okay. I thought I had made a huge mistake and I was convinced about every 4 to 6 weeks, I, was telling somebody I'm quitting, right? I'm quitting and I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm definitely quitting this. All right. And I had moved across the country. I had quit my job, moved across the country to go to grad school. And I was still convinced that I was going to quit and walk away because my first year was very, very difficult, very, very hard for me. Well, yes, there were definitely some good things about it. Overall, in terms of the program, it was very, very hard for me. And I had a really hard time. And I thought a lot about quitting. So what I would say to that is, if you find yourself in this similar situation the first year, maybe you have to use your best judgment here, but maybe consider sticking it out the first year, if that makes sense for you, because after the first year, things got a lot better, okay? And ultimately, I was glad I stayed and I didn't quit. The second year, way more pleasant, and I'll tell you why. I mean, I was there for 5 years, okay? So the second year was way more pleasant because in the first year, I'm, coursework, right? And I have my research assistantship and I taught a class and all of these things were new to me, all right? So I'm learning a bunch of stuff. I'm learning new ways of thinking, writing, how to do research, how to teach undergrads. And I'm not always doing it all that well, right? Which is normal because that's what you're there for. You're there to learn it. But when everything is hard, right? It makes it rather unpleasant. But the second year was a repeat essentially of the first year. So I kind of knew how to do everything well. I knew how to do classes well. I knew how to write. I was a better writer. I was a better thinker. I was a better researcher. I was a better teacher, right? So the second year was way more pleasant and very, very enjoyable. Now, years 3 through 5, not as much, okay? Kind of a roller coaster because I'm shifting into doing a dissertation, right? Doing my comprehensive exams, writing a dissertation proposal, doing a dissertation. Those are all new things, right? So I'm having struggles with those things to varying degrees. I don't want to make it sound like it was all miserable and bad because some things about that process went very smoothly for me and I did very well. But again, it's like a little bit of a roller coaster there. But it's a roller coaster because all new things, okay? So be generous with yourself and remember that, okay? These are all new things that you're learning. So here's the thing. There are going to be elements about the program that, and these will vary from person to person, that you like and that you do well at. And there are going to be elements that you don't like. And it could be, again, about the program. It could be about your assistantship. It could be about research. It could be about, teaching, that sort of a thing. And these will all vary, okay? But I think the thing is that we are all going to have our moments where everything's clicking and we're like, yes, I should be here. Yes, this is great. And we're going to have moments where we're just at the bottom of the pile and we're crying and nothing works and everything's hard and how are we ever going to do this and why are we here? And then you're going to have all that's going to, be on a continuum. That's normal, okay? So just know that, right, you're going to have those moments. And then on top of that, right, you're going to have emotional and mental components that are hard, okay? And there are going to be times when there are things that you do not like, all right? And you're just going to have to decide, do I want to stick it out? Is it worth it, okay? Overall, looking back on it, I can say, yeah, I'm really glad I did it. I liked it. I liked grad school. I would go back and do it again. I would say it's one of the best time periods, happiest time periods of my life. And I say that even with all the crying that went on. There was a lot of crying the first year, and there was a lot of crying that went on off and on during the dissertation at the end. I had like crying as bookends to my grad school experience. But overall, would I redo that exact same thing again? Yes, in a heartbeat, okay? So sometimes you can't see that when you're buried in it and things aren't going well. But I think if you take anything away from this, just know that if you've decided that grad school makes sense for you, there will be definitely times it flows and definitely times it doesn't flow, and definitely days when you're like, or months even, where you're like, yeah, I should be here, and days, weeks, months where you're like, what am I doing? I have made a huge mistake with my life. This isn't for me. So that's normal. And if you can ride that out and it works for you, then, you know, it may be that in the end, you really do decide that, yeah, I liked grad school.